Hey out there, welcome to the first episode of Pete's Secret Stash. So this series is going to be about just stuff that I've acquired or I like to fish with myself, things that don't get a lot of attention I think in the general marketplace, JDM products, stuff that I've known from my tournament buddies is catching fish out there on the tournament scene, and just overall getting into all my secret stuff that I like to fish with. First off was something new that I just acquired recently, and that is the new Megabass P5 Destroyer. So this rod right here is the Madbull. Alright, and it's got a reel on it because this one, I'm being serious, I actually just acquired and I put a reel on it. I'm absolutely obsessed with this thing as I picked it up. I'll be completely honest, at first I knew about the P5 series, I'd seen it a bunch, but there's a particular application I wanted this rod for. I didn't know this rod would be perfect for it until I picked it up and started playing with it, and it's thing's unbelievable in hand, so I wanted to get one. And this one here has a medium to moderate action to the rods, which means it has a slower bend to the rod, and it's got a medium heavy power. It's actually quite a powerful rod for how slow the action is, but I wanted it for braid to a leader fishing with small jigs and even small Texas rig applications. It's super light and insanely sensitive, and it features a lot of just Megabassy type stuff. And Megabassy type stuff, what I mean by that is it's not just catch a fisherman, it's catch a fish too. A lot of brands focus a lot on catching a fish, right? And that's great, and that's the stuff you should buy to go catch a lot of fish. And then a lot of brands focus on catching a fisherman, so it looks super cool. It's got a lot of flair to it, but not a lot of substance. And then very rarely do most of them hit home runs all the time where you get it both right. And that's what Megabass, in my opinion, does very well. It's catch a fish and catch a fisherman. This one definitely caught me appearance-wise, and now application-wise is blowing my mind. This thing's insanely light. It features their 5D construction graphite blank, which is 5 different types of carbon fiber scrim with different patterns on it. And the patterns all fit together like a puzzle, so vertical, horizontal, at angles and things, and they mesh together. What that allows them to do to lock those sheets of carbon together is not use pre-preg in between them or glue, right? So what that glue does is it basically weighs down your rod and kills a lot of the sensitivity. But you need that glue in places in the rod to basically keep that round construction together and keep the blank together. Well, these guys have figured out a way to basically lock that blank together without using a lot of any of that gluing material, and gives it insanely lightweight and great sensitivity. They also pay massive attention to the components on the rod, such as super high-end guides, really beautiful thread wraps that probably don't catch a fish, but they certainly catch a fisherman. But then there's things like the chuck on the rod, or the locking nut, and the handle, the grip here, and this is made of carbon fiber here, and this is a custom Megabass reel seat with a custom Megabass chuck on it here. And what this is machined out of, and the weight of it all has a purpose. It balances out the rod to make it not so tip heavy, and it makes it so that there's more sensitivity. It doesn't deaden that feel from that blank running through the handle here. You're contacting the blank, and all this material here is helping transfer the bites or feeling of the structure on the bottom through the handle. These rods come in a whole bunch of different sizes. I'm just talking about 2 of them today and one that I acquired, and another one that I just recently got my hands on, which is the Wind Buster. So let's talk about that one next. So this one here is the Wind Buster. Okay, this one here is a 7.2, 6 to 16 pound rated rod. This one here has a really beautiful action to it. They list it as kind of like that medium to moderate action, or moderate to fast action. So it's really, really beautiful in hand. It's light and balanced. This thing feels like it's a 6.5 foot rod, and it's 7'2". It's pretty stout. It's a lot stouter than I thought it would be. when I picked it up and read the ratings on the rod. And the purpose of it is actually quite ingenious. Hence the name Windbuster, which was a little confusing to me, was the point of a bait caster struggles to cast into the wind, especially if you're throwing things like little crankbaits or little swim baits, plastics, anything like that. When you're casting into the wind, you don't get the distance you want to get. Even if you can prevent the backlashes, it's hard to get that distance. With a 7'2" spinning rod, you can get that distance, but you always give up power. This rod basically has a very unique blank to me in spinning. It does feel like a bait caster blank, but it's weighted out and balanced like a spinning rod, so it's perfect for fishing any of those applications you'd normally fish on a bait caster in windy conditions. So whether it's throwing a dark sleeper from Megabass, or a little swim bait, throwing a tube, dragging a jig, throwing a jerk bait. Throwing a jerk bait in the wind with a bait caster can be a real nightmare sometimes. You can get away with that with this rod no problem and have plenty of power to fight any big fish you want to. Once again, it features a custom Megabass handle with custom components all machined on this rod to make sure that it balances out and you feel everything, and it's got that same blank construction, that 5D construction that makes these things just incredible. They're pretty hard to get your hands on. They're unique. They're hard to find in store to get your hands on and hold. So I thought I'd take a minute to show you guys some of this stuff from the secret stash, because I'll be on the water fishing with these here shortly. Stay tuned for more content we're going to be kicking out that's going to be showing the actions of these rods and diving deeper into all the different models in the series, so that you can really basically get the experience you'd get in store without being able to touch the rod, but we can show you the actions and give you some real honest feedback on how the rods perform. In the meantime, go catch them.